Trey Sermon waved yesterday. A lot of people have thoughts on that. I thought Trey Sermon was going to be a baller. When LaMichael James, when he got drafted out of Oregon, I'll never forget, I was at a bar called Stein's on Clement Street.
Nice.
And I jumped out of my seat. It's like, LaMichael backing up Frank Gore with this offense and Kaepernick. And we all know how the Super Bowl went. We all know how his career played out.
Yeah.
I felt the same way about Trey Sermon. It's like, this is a nice little steal. Although he got benched at Oklahoma, had a big year at Ohio State. All right, he got hurt on the first play of the game in the national championship, but you know what? I'm all in on Trey Sermon in the gun run. Yeah, that didn't work out too well.
Where'd he go? Did he wind up somewhere today?
I haven't seen him picked up yet. His Larry
Still a chance he can line on the
Kind of wild,
Still a chance he can end up on the practice squad.
Yeah, maybe.
There's no other running backs in the practice squad, right?
No.
So maybe he's the guy.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the guy. Damn.
Somebody's going to pick him off waivers. Come on.
I mean, if someone picked up Alex Leatherwood, and I know he's a first rounder, but like everyone evaluated that guy as like not good.
that was
not good.
If you think
the Bears were like, okay.
Should have been a guard, right? They played him at tackle.
Should never have been a first-round pick.
Yeah, shouldn't have been drafted. At 17.
John Gruden, Mike Mayock special right there.
You may think if you're a 49er fan, your offensive line is bad, but it's not, hey, we need to go sign Alex Leatherwood so he could be on our team bad.
Yeah. I do have, I think this is a fair question. I wonder what you guys all think about this. If Shanahan's rep is, I'm not going to ever pay a running back, and they're interchangeable, why do they keep drafting them in the third round?
Cheap labor.
It's a good question because they look at the track record. Their undrafted list of guys is way, way more impressive than the guys they traded up for. Joe Williams, bust.
Bust.
I guess you could say Trey Sermon at this point.
Bust.
At least for them, he's a bust.
Matt Breida was good.
So they traded up for some guy named Capri Bibbs.
Yeah, I remember that. Capri Bibbs.
It's
a great name.
Legend. But you know what?
I forgot about it.
But you know what? Even though, I hear what you're saying, Mark, but like you think about a third-round pick, fourth-round pick, sixth-round pick, still cheap labor.
It doesn't
still
matter.
Really
It hasn't turned into them having to pay the piper on it. It's just kind of curious. Like, I'd love to know philosophically where he's coming from on that, because it's like and I bet he wouldn't say that. Like, I don't care about running backs, turn and burn. But that seems to be the behavior, and even his dad for so many years got so much out of guys who were unheralded and you didn't see him coming. And if you feel like you can do that, then why would you be maneuvering in the third round and continually keep doing it?
Yeah.
You would think at a certain point, and maybe he's like, look, well, you can't count on the undrafted guys, but I don't know.
Right.
It feels like you can.
Maybe it's like they're trying to. Jonathan Taylor's the best back in the game. He was a second-round pick. Maybe they're thinking,
Derrick Henry second-round pick.
We can find somebody, after the first round, but earlier in the draft. But their track record is it's like the Niners with McKittrick back in the day.
Yeah.
They found all these Pro Bowl offensive linemen. They found them in, after the draft or, late in the draft. If you have a position where you can do that, that's a huge advantage.
Who's the running back coach name? Bobby
Turner.
Bobby Turner. He stepped away this year, right? So now you have Anthony Lynn, but Anthony Lynn has a great track record of developing running backs. That's how he got a coaching job with the Chargers, because he was so good with the tailbacks and offense and stuff like that. So maybe that's the way to go. I've always kind of wanted a bell cow, like a dude, an explosive type of guy. And you could find those guys in the second round. You mentioned Jonathan Taylor. You have Derrick Henry in Tennessee. Nobody wants to tackle him, and he has speed to burn. You can't find those running backs in the second round. Problem is, the Niners go to the fourth round, to the sixth round, sometimes the third round, and it doesn't work out.
By the way, though, bell cow, all of us fantasy football players are always looking for bell cow.
It's kind of a thing of the
past. But like tie bell cow to Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Like all those guys you just mentioned.
Joe Mixon, 19, and like bell cow. Mixon. And maybe bell cow's a different meaning now. It's not like, hey, we're going to get this guy 35 carries. Like, we're going to run him into the ground like Jerome Bettis or something. But like a guy you can give the ball to 20 times a game, whether it's in a passing game, running the ball 15 times. Because like there's a thing where you get a running back in the fourth quarter, a really good one, and the team's just getting worn down, and defenses don't want to tackle that guy.
No, it's not a bad thing.
And I think that's an advantage.
It's not a bad thing, but it's not a need. It's not a need. Like, look at the teams that have done the Patriots for years never had a bell cow. Rams over the last few years have never really had a
They
bell
ran
cow.
guys into the ground. Sonny Michel ran the ball a lot that year with the Patriots.
He did,
as
but,
a rookie.
I mean, Bill's always got guys
Corey
coming in
Dillon
on
ran the
third
ball
down,
a lot. Antoine Smith ran the ball a lot. It may not be for 5 years, but for that season, those guys run the ball like. That's our guy, Antoine Smith, the first Patriots run. Corey Dillon.
I mean,
those are our guys. We're going to run them.
I'm going to come back with Kansas City last few years. Never a bell cow. Like, Jamal Charles years ago, but they didn't win with him. Like, I don't think it's a need. Sure, if you got a dude, you got a dude. But Dalvin Cook and Christian McCaffrey and
Jonathan Taylor,
and Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor, how many Super Bowls these guys been to?
Yeah, that's
it's like Dallas with Zeke too. I mean, Dallas ran Zeke like exactly what you're describing, right? He got the ball, and now who's getting the ball? Pollard,
right, Tony Pollard,
because they're throwing it to him in the flat, and they're kind of diversifying.
Here's the other problem.
So it doesn't last long, but for that season,
but
can I rely on Elijah Mitchell to run the ball over 200 times a season? Played 11 games last year, and he had a great average per carry. But boy, in that Philly game, you saw. Man, that may be a little too physical for Elijah Mitchell.
Here's the other deal that's contractual. If you create that guy, then what do you got to do with that guy when it comes time to pay? Like the Steelers, right. So the Steelers, you end up in a Le'Veon Bell situation. Larry, you bring up Zeke, paid him, whoops. Panthers, paid him, whoops. Right? Dalvin Cook, you don't say whoops, but it's led to what? Like,
I'd rather have those guys.
It's like the Rams with Gurley. They drafted him high, they rode him hard, and then they didn't give him that second deal, right?
They didn't give him that second deal. And now they have Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson Jr., some really good tailbacks who could be those guys, but, they were difference makers.
It is. You bring up Gurley. It is amazing. The guys that do sort of hold out and get into the contract battle.
As a running back,
it's not like, and I mean, 3 years later, they're just gone.
Yeah.
Gurley, Bell.
Shot.
Gone.
Yeah.
Shot.
Gone. Like the team is
going way back. I mean, Dickerson was awesome with the Rams.
Then the
forced to
Colts.
trade. Terrible.
Not the same.
That's why the Raiders didn't pick up Josh Jacobs' option. I don't think, no matter what he does this season, I don't think they're going to sign him to a long-term extension.
As long as McDaniel's there, they'll the same thing.
Yeah,
pay another running back again.
Zimmer White's a good, tough running back out of Georgia.
Zeus. Yeah.
They didn't give him a lot of carries.
He was a 5-star.
Yeah, he was a 5-star. They had James Cook, Dalvin's little brother, was there at Georgia, and they just kind of split the carries up, and Zamir White's going to be nice with the Raiders. I like him a lot.
Going along with Joe Williams and Trey Sermon, I personally don't think that Davis Price is going to continue that trend of mid-round running back busts, because you saw that from Ari Mayroff at My Sports Update on Twitter, very popular national NFL writer. He, went through the list and said, these guys undrafted, like Matt Breida, Raheem Mostert, or drafted in the late rounds, like Elijah Mitchell.
Like Mitchell.
Jeff Wilson. Exactly.
And I don't think TDP, though, is going to continue that trend of, third or fourth round bust. I think he's actually going to be really good for them this
Who knows
year.
what the opportunity is even going to be, though, by the way.
Is Jimmy speaking today?
He's playing today.
He's practicing. We know that he's speaking.
I would guess no.
Probably not.
Really?
I heard you talk driving in. I would love to hear him talk, get his perspective. I bet you they won't.
They won't put him in that spot.
Are you willing to walk back your comments when you said "see ya"?
I mean,
are
there's
you willing
so many
to walk
questions.
those back now?
Maybe he was taken out of context and there was really a later on the end there. See you later.
Yeah, the mic turned off.
He just turned it off?
Yeah, he said in September, right afterward.
Never answered a question, but are you really okay with being a backup? Like, are you here to be the backup all season long?
Behavior says yes.
Like he's a competitor. Like, I think that's underrated about Jimmy. He does want to win. He wants to be the guy. Like, there's so many questions I wouldn't want to ask him today. And the Niners, what they did the other day was doing a conference call. Like, I wanted to see the facial expressions of Kyle Shanahan when you give me these answers.
Joke.
I want to see, I'd love to hear him say, just describe, what it was like being in his position last year and how now with the roles reversed.
Yeah.
1 year later, do you lose face in the room? Do you gain more face with the players because you know what? You're accepting of both roles, or you can make both roles work. I think it's a really interesting dynamic. Really.
I know you're excited, though, for the practice stats that are about to be coming out for Jimmy Garoppolo, huh?
Yeah, practice stats.
Wow.
That's right. Give me some practice stats.
Hear Phil Simms yesterday? Phil was like, these practice stats are ridiculous.
Did he?
I don't care. Oh, he ripped them.
Yeah.
He ripped them. I can't say them either.
I mean, could you imagine if you had stats or ratings on what you said in the hallway?
Our ratings would be really good if they heard what we just said in the hallway.
Yeah, you came in with a look, Mark. You came in with a look.
I'm sports mad at Larry. I'm not actually mad at Larry, but I'm sports mad at
About
him.
the Giants?
Yeah, no. Well, I guess you could. Yeah, no.
Hear what I said
We're
earlier?
going to save it for our show. No,
We're
what'd you
gonna
say?
save it.
Yeah, what'd you say?
Well, it's so bad with the Giants right now.
It is. Well,
And I think Farhan lost
agreed.
that benefit of the doubt for the first 2 years because he hired a guy in Gabe Kapler that was very controversial around here. Remember his introductory presser? It was like 40 straight minutes of everything but baseball, right?
It was a little too much.
It was a little too much, but it was all. It was
Well, it's kind of
you know why?
it's a little bit of
there's some journalists in
It's
this
a little
market.
bit of an unfair controversy. I'm not going to say that the issue that was being discussed was unfair because it was very, very serious, but to make that issue all about Gabe,
Right,
if you
was
know,
wrong.
was really kind of odd. And in fact, I would have, we don't need to go down that rabbit hole,
No,
but
we don't.
if you were going to make that about Gabe, you need to make it as much about Farhan.
Right.
He was a leader with that with the Dodge organization when that all went down too.
Yeah.
So with that said,
anyway, go ahead.
With that said, there's 3 players I would bring back next year, and one of them I don't
would
think
not or would.
would.
Okay.
Webb, obviously.
Oh, you were saying only 3?
Only 3. Logan Webb,
Okay.
Camilo Duval,
Right.
and Carlos Rodon, who I don't think is coming back. I think he's opting out. And I think
Probably.
Would you
he's
bring
He's
Carlos
definitely-
Rodon back at 5 years at $20 million? Because I wouldn't. I'd say
Wow.
bye-bye. No way.
I'm
and I-
iffy on that.
I think
I'm
that-
iffy on that.
I
don't
think they will make the same decision that you're saying.
Yeah,
yes.
which is why we all think he's going to be gone.
Dave
Right.
Fleming kind of tipped his hand a few weeks ago on our show where he basically said, "Yeah, I don't know." I don't know about that because they do believe that they could find a Jacob Junis, they could find an Alex Cobb, they could find another Gosman and make him into a serviceable starting pitcher.
But you don't have you need if you have a goal of going to the playoffs, you need a 1 or a 2.
Yeah.
And
I think-
then those serviceable is not what I'm looking
well,
for.
no, nobody
but,
is.
But they've got a point if their response is, look, he has now had a sum total of 1 year without arm problems in the bigs. You want to do 5 years and up
I
get it.
got a couple questions.
One of Fleming's points, though, was when talking about Rodon was he said, well, one, there's going to be other teams that are just willing to pay him possibly at market value, according to Spotrac, if we take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But they have the market value right now at $30 million. Fleming said that other teams are going to be willing to pay him that
much.
much.
5 years and a
Power
$150.
pitcher,
And then-
he's been healthy for 2 years, both
out.
contract years.
And he's expecting higher than
out.
Gosman, which was 5 years, 110. And he thinks that the fastball, this is what Fleming said, he thinks the fastball, it's more sustainable for the future. So that's why teams are going to be willing to give him that big contract.
Well, and desperate supply and
Yes.
demand, and
There you
that's the whole dynamic of
Yeah.
free agency. But no way, there's no way Farhan signs him.
So there's no way there.
I would say
How's
no
Giants
way.
ownership feeling about everything right now? The crowd's just like.
I think they know they need to reinvent themselves, Sponte. I think they know that they need to get younger, more entertaining, more dynamic, more. I think they know that this is an off season of change.
Farhan believe that.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, but you know what?
Yeah.
I saw Gabe pointing fingers yesterday with his comments. So
There's been a lot. No, let me ask you
There
this.
is.
Let
Yeah,
me ask you
there's-
this because there's a lot of that going on, and I've heard Logan Webb, Alex Wood, Rodon, and numerous other players. We didn't play with any fire. Well, how does that happen? How do you play with no fire? And who is that on?
Right.
Is it because of the lineup? Is it because you don't like the manager? Is it because you don't like the philosophy? How are you not playing with fire?
Your manager has fire tattooed on his hand.
Right.
Like, what's going on with that?
Yet never shows it. Yet never shows it. But it is an interesting comment because, look, these are grown men. If you came in here and you were doing a show and it was just kind of like, I lacked energy today, are we blaming the Hagen?
No,
Oh, hey,
you're blaming
Matt.
yourself.
Bonte's a little dry today. Where were you on that one?
Right.
Like what?
Right.
If so, there's so many questions to Logan, and Logan, he weaved his way through that comment. You could tell he was uncomfortable with it.
Yep.
He's like, first, I'm going to use the word complacent. That's not it. Maybe we're lacking fire. So is he pointing at teammates? Is he pointing at Gabe?
I don't know. Is he pointing at the front office?
Is he pointing at himself?
I
don't
he's
think so. 'cause
pointing at Gabe. I think
it
even
felt
if he
that
doesn't
way.
say it,
It felt that way.
it does sound like
So
it.
well, here's the other thing then. Why does a manager need to help you have fire to go out there and play?
That's my question.
Like, look in the mirror. Like, so who is this all on? And
The only thing is they'll say when things are going good, teams take on the traits of their manager.
Right.
But, I don't know. All I know is that when I'm reading the Kapler comments, it sounds like, hey, man, it ain't me. It's like I'll read him later, but it's like we're demonstrating
he
fire.
Basically said we're doing everything, like we did all the pregame routines. We've had all the fire. We've had all the effort. We've had all the everything, and it's not good enough. Which that's going to play to. I don't have any good players.
And is he wrong? I can't even really. I don't even love Gabe Kapler, but you know what?
He's not wrong.
I kind of would side with him if we really got into a debate on this.
But the odd thing is with so many of those same players, they had their best year ever just a year ago. And I know there's additions and subtractions.
You lost Posey,
Bryant, even someone like Donovan Solano. Like I get it, they lost some people. You added some people, but for it to be this different. I don't know.
So
you accepted the Manager of the Year award when it went well.
Well, here's the deal. We're in a situation where the next 9 months, the Giants are on the back burner. You have Trey Lance and the Niners, and what's going on with the quarterback spot and Kyle Shanahan and this loaded roster. And then you got the defending NBA champions about to play ball October 18th.
Well,
so the Giants would have to sign Judge, Turner, top pitcher, whoever's out there, Josh Bell.
Well, there's a couple ways to look at that. Like, yes, that's a conversation.
But hold on.
That's a conversation.
Ownership can't be happy with this.
No, that's a conversation they're having.
It's going to be year 5 of Farhan.
They're partially to blame, though. They need to spend some money. The first question that needs to be asked, you have a top 13 payroll, but you got your top 5 in revenue. Why is that? Why is there disparity there? Why did you sit on $20 million? Why did you spend 5% less of your revenue than the Dodgers spent of their revenue? And when they have more revenue, you should have spent, if anything, you should have spent a higher percentage. Instead, you spent a lower percentage.
They could have all the money in the world. Who's going to want to play with everything going on out here in that philosophy? I don't know about that.
I always challenge you with that one because money. That's what players sign.
Players didn't like it in Philly. Players seem to be not liking it here in San Francisco.
Like Javi Baez
travels around the league.
Javi Baez signed a contract with the Tigers. Okay? Like, if you're the highest bidder, you get the dude.
I guess.
You get 9 times
Maybe
out of 10.
he was sold on a rebuild. I don't know.
Come on, man.
I don't know. You think
they
could throw $500 million in Aaron Judge? You honestly think he's going to take that $500 million here in San Francisco?
If someone else
and have to compete against Arizona? Because now the Arizona Cardinals are Diamondbacks are in the mix now. They're in the mix now.
Yeah.
I don't think they think about it that way. Like I feel like players and agents don't sit down with the standings and go, okay, like this is gonna be the next 9 years of my life and try to predict what that's gonna look like. Even 2 years from now, who knows? Like if you're the high bidder, you win.
I think the Giants are in a bad state right now.
They are.
I think it's going to be some dark days. I'm starting to think like early '80s type of Giants.
They first need a big September. They need to whatever young player they got, Cole Waits, Dabovich, whoever it is, they got to call up somebody this month that makes you go, I wouldn't mind seeing that guy next year. Because right now, there's nobody that you say I want to see.
Nobody.
And I'm tired of watching Yaz. I mean, Yaz is not Yaz. I mean, and Wade is. I mean, he might have just been a 1 year wonder. Yeah. And stop hitting these guys like 1, 2, 3. I mean, my goodness, these guys are failing at a record rate. It might be time for maybe try somebody new. Anybody?
They legit need
you're
like
a Von
10
Brown
players.
guy, right?
Anyone.
I'm a you guy if you can hit.
Right, brother. If you got a headache right now on the Giants, you're on the IL.
Yeah.
I want all the roster spots. Everybody, except for Joey Bart. Please,
something's got to flip though.
Step aside
because there was something about putting butts in the seats. They're now not the marquee.
Yeah.
Four blocks down the street, the Warriors got it. Everything's cracking down there with Chase Center. Everybody wants to be there. Everybody would drive down to Santa Clara to see what's going on with the Niners. We're not going to Oracle Park.
No,
until we see some changes.
So you're right. Like that is one of the ownership conversations is going to be like, where do we stand with the entertainment dollar in San Francisco, California? The other side to that, though, and this is true for all the teams in the Bay, like they have a fan base. They have a very, very big fan base, and that fan base is going to wait for them to do something that they want to do. Like it's not like Giants fans are like, that's it, I'm not a Giants fan.
No doubt.
No, but your entertainment dollar, that is a competition that they're losing right now. Yes. Yeah.
And sponsors, by the way. They're competing with the Warriors for attention, fans, and sponsors.
Season ticket holders are thinking, man, do I renew my tickets? I just think they're a long way away. And I don't think, hey, one off season, you spend some money, you're going to be right back in.
You never know, though, because we thought that an off season ago, going into last year.
5 of the last 6 years.
Right, but before
it looks more and more like an anomaly.
And even if it is, why couldn't another anomaly happen next year? I guess is my point. Like I do think in sports, in fact, there's a fun thing that Larry and I are going to play with today. It changes fast, and we never see it coming. What is the stat? I think it's I got to get the number about how many years in a row this has been true. But 4 teams in the NFL at least 4 make the playoffs that did not make the playoffs the year before. And I got to get the number.
This is Major League Baseball.
It's a big number, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like 30 years.
So I got to roll. We got to do some things here. You guys chew on that.
Yep.
I just think they're a long way away, and I don't know, man. I don't know about this regime.
Since 1990. Since 1990.
Wow.
32 consecutive years. 4 teams
NFL?
in the NFL make the playoffs that didn't the year before.
What about Major League Baseball?
No,
'Cause
my
we're playing
point
baseball
being
here.
is like it changes every year.
It does change
It
in the
changes
NFL.
all
it changes
year.
in the NFL.
All sports. All of
Baseball,
them.
how much does it change?
I mean, the
I'd
Dodgers
love to see those numbers.
The Dodgers will be good again next year. I know that.
Hey, all you got to know, those Padres, Phillies, Blue Jays last year all struggled. They all dumped their manager. They're all playoff bound this year. Do you dump your manager?
That's
Or
probably,
do you
that's
stay,
prob- that's
do you
probably
stay
not
with
gonna
the
happen.
regime, or is it time for new faces, new ideas, new approach?
Dude, you got a pocket full of cash. The minor league system is okay, I guess. Maybe you bring in a new guy, a new manager and a GM. I don't know. It's year 4. It's year 4.
I mean,
and it looks bleak.
It's worth considering.
It is worth
You can
consideration.
think it.
No
It's
doubt.
not going to happen.
Yeah,
It's not gonna happen. You can think it. It's not going to happen.
You're probably right. Don't let them stink in 2023. All right, guys, you guys have a good show. Willard and Kruger coming up next.